Imagine standing atop a massive, concrete broadcast outpost during an active military occupation, dodging aerodynamic, gargantuan creatures, only to realize that you can literally extract a mythical, avian entity straight out of a radar beast's consciousness, because that is exactly how we encounter Siren in Final Fantasy VIII. If you blinked during that chaotic Dollet field exam, you completely missed one of the most enigmatic entities in the entire lore, a creature that gracefully defies the typical destructive nature of most Guardian forces. When you look at Siren, you are not seeing a standard mermaid pulling sailors to a watery grave, but rather a deeply intriguing avian humanoid fusion. Her aesthetic is defined by vibrant, chartreuse plumage extending from the cranium-like living wings, which perfectly contrasts with the deep violet claws on her bare feet. There is a fascinating shift in her design across eras, where the original PlayStation release presented a much more minimalist, featherless torso, whereas the modern remastered version of Final Fantasy VIII wraps her form in dense, modesty-protecting plumage, signaling a distinct shift in visual censorship. She clutches an elegant, jade-tinted harp, an instrument that serves as both her artistic medium and her primary metaphysical focus, allowing her to manipulate the atmosphere itself through acoustic resonance. Her personality radiates a serene, almost detached tranquility, completely unbothered by the violent conflicts transpiring around her. While other entities arrive with apocalyptic infernos or devastating glacial shifts, Siren manifests simply to play a quiet, haunting melody, asserting control over the battlefield through pure psychological containment. Within the grander scheme of the world-building of Final Fantasy VIII, Siren occupies a remarkably peculiar geographical and historical space. She does not boast an ancient, dedicated temple like Ifrit, nor is she a corporate commodity distributed by Balam Garden for standard cadet training. Instead, she is discovered trapped, or perhaps gestating, inside Elvret, a monstrous entity nesting at the apex of the Dollet communication tower. This specific placement implies that Siren might be attracted to, or sustained by, high-frequency electromagnetic transmissions, acting as a metaphysical parasite or a spiritual conductor within technological infrastructure. Her connection to the narrative highlights the deep tragedy of the Guardian forces, specifically how these conscious amnesiac-inducing entities are forgotten, discarded, or sealed away within the bodies of regional monsters. If the young seed mercenaries neglect to draw her out during that frantic skirmish, Siren remains lost to the ether until the final, reality-compressing segments of the game, where she reappears inside the stronghold of Ultimecia. The real-world inspiration for Siren draws directly from ancient Greek mythology, specifically the epic accounts of Homer, where these beings were originally avian monstrosities with women's heads rather than the fish-tailed creatures modern pop culture prefers. The developmental team at Square brilliantly honored this classical lore by keeping the wing flaps on her skull, creating a direct visual lineage back to the Odyssey. However, the way Siren looks in Final Fantasy VIII, it is but a more sanitized, and way more graceful, exterior of the Siren from the cult manga Devilman. Siren is absolutely essential for unlocking the true pinnacle of blue magic for Quistis Trepi, Final Fantasy VIII's most mature playable character. She is the only available catalyst required to unleash the apocalyptic shockwave pulsar. Furthermore, her unique card can be won from a shady pub manager hidden away in the upper levels of Dollet, a man who hoards her likeness while the actual spiritual entity is trapped miles away in a cold, steel tower. This implies that the pub manager, in the past, might have met Siren when she was still a physical entity in the world, the triple triad card a latter memorabilia in her honor. Now, consider the strange relationship between Siren and the concept of global communication. The Dollet Tower was deactivated for nearly 2 decades by order of the Galbadian military, meaning that Siren was likely slumbering in total silence, feeding off the residual, unbroadcasted magical ley lines of the planet. When the switch was finally flipped to broadcast the global announcement of the Sorceress, the sudden surge of electronic data might have acted as a massive sensory awakening for her, binding her to the radio waves themselves, which explains why she grants the party the move-find ability to perceive the completely invisible, hidden ripples of magic and save points across the entire surface of the planet.